Okay, now I would say let's start to work on the functionality for inviting people, updating the server, as well as creating a channel on the server. And for this, I would say let's start with the backend. Let's start to implement the functionality on the backend, and then let's go to the front end and start building out the corresponding modals for this. Yeah, so let's go to our NestJS application. Okay, and here let's go to our server service. Okay, and here in our server service, let's create an async function, update server with new invite code, and it takes the server ID, yeah, of type number. And now let's say const server is equal to await this Prisma server find unique, where ID is server ID like this. Then let's say if now server, then let's throw an error and we say server not found. And you know, I want to show you something here in our service. It might be better to use error instead of a specific Apollo error. And the reason for this is we want to keep our service a bit more independent of dependencies, so to speak, yeah? Because Apollo error is specific to the Apollo Server Express, and we don't want to have a strict dependency here, yeah? This is not really good. So what we can do is we can throw a standard error here, and then we can use try and catch block in our resolver to throw an Apollo error there. Yeah, this is also possible to have a better decoupling. So yeah, it's more independent in here in our server service, and it does not rely on this package. Yeah, this is always a good thing. But it's up to you. Yeah, you can also use Apollo error, or you can throw a bad request exception or whatsoever. And now, after passing this line, we have a server and we can update the server. So we say this Prisma server update, and then we want to update the server where ID is equal to server ID. And then what data do we want to update? We want to update the invite code. And here we want to create something unique. So we are using UUID v4 here. Let's make sure that we close it properly. And we are done with our first method. And now let's create two other methods before we go back to our front end. Now let's create another method, async update server. And here let's say input of type update server DTO, and then also an image URL like this. Okay, and now let's create the update server DTO. Let's go to dto.ts, and here let's make use of another input type decorator, and let's say export class update server DTO. And here we want to be able to update the name, and then also we expect an integer from the front end, which is of course the server ID, like so, of type number. And we have to import is int. Okay, and we don't need the actual image URL because we don't send the image URL from the front end. Yeah, the image URL will be created on our backend. What we send from the front end is a file in a binary format, and we actually don't need this here because this is optional. Yeah, if the user does not send a new file, we simply will keep the old file. So we don't need to put it here in this DTO because we don't need validation for it. Okay, now let's go back to our update server. And here, let's say const server is equal to await this.prisma.server find unique, where ID is equal to input server ID, and then wait, let me give this image URL a type of string, and then what data do we want to update? We want to update the name, which is input.name, and we want to update the image URL like this. And now I made a mistake here. What's wrong here? And now let's make sure that our image URL has a type of string. And now let's say const server is equal to await this Prisma server find unique, where ID is equal to input server ID. Then for the case that we have now server, we throw a new error, server not found. And then after this line, we know we have a server, so we can update it. Yeah. And let's say this Prisma server.update. And in here, let's say where curly brackets ID is equal to server.id. And then after this closing curly bracket, let's provide the data. Curly brackets, here let's say name is equal to input.name, and then we pass in image URL like this. Okay. And now what other thing do we need to create? Okay, we need create channel. So let's work on this now. Let's create another async function. Async create server. And here we have an input argument. And we say create channel on server DTO. And then also we expect an email, which we get from our GraphQL auth guard. So we don't send it from the front end, yeah, but we get it from our auth guard in our backend. And let's open up curly brackets. And now let's create this DTO. Let's make use of another input type. And let's say export class, create channel on server DTO. And here we need to make sure that it is string and then field. And then we need the name from the front end. Then let's say is int. And then field. And let's say server ID of type number. Then we need the actual channel type. So let's say is string like this. And field. And then type is string like this. And we are good here. Now let's make sure that we import it in our server service DTO. And in here, let's say if now input.name, let's throw new error. Channel name is required like this. And once we have a name, we can keep going. Let's try to get the profile using find unique, and we pass in the email like so. If no profile, let's throw another error, profile not found. And after that, we are able to update our server. So let's say return this prisma.server.update, parentheses, curly brackets, where input.serverID. And why do I have this error here? I'm not sure about it. What's the problem here? Ah, sorry. We already have a create server, so this must be create channel, of course. And then also, let's wrap this in curly brackets. Yeah. And then after server ID here, let's make a comma. And sorry, here of course this must be ID, where ID is equal to input server ID, like this. Yeah. And then also members sum. And here we want to be sure that the profile ID of one of the members is equal to profile.id, like so. But that's not all. We also want to be sure that the role is either member role.admin or member role.moderator, like this. Otherwise, we don't want to update the server. Yeah? So a guest should not be able to update the server. All right. And now we need to make sure that we provide the data that we want to update. So here, after this where statement here, let's say data. And here, let's say channels. And what do we want to do? We want to create a new channel. And for the channel, we need to provide a name, which is equal to input.name, a profile ID, which is equal to profile.id, and a type, which is equal to channel type from our types. And then we say input type, like this. And I just see it might be better to improve the typing here on this input.type. So let's go again to our create channel server DTO. And maybe here, instead of string, we can say channel type, yeah, which is our enum, like so. Or wait, which one do we have to use? Channel type? Yeah, channel type from types. Yeah, this one we have to use. So we have to use this one here, yeah? Okay. And now let's go back to our server service. And here this is now channel type, yeah? So it can either be text, audio, or video. So we have properly typed it. Now we are done with our server service. Let's go and implement the corresponding mutations in our server resolver. So, first of all, let's make use of mutation, and we want to return a server type. Then let's say async update server with new invite code. And then here we expect args server ID, and we name the variable server ID of type number. And then also we want to access the context to get the email from it. Let's open up the function body. And in here, let's say try and catch. And in this try block, let's say return this server service update server with new invite code. Let's put in the server ID and also the email. Wait, let's go back to this method. Actually, I was wrong here. We don't need the context here. Yeah, we don't need the email. Sorry for this. Now maybe above, let's also create another mutation which returns a server type. And you know what? Actually here, let's also make sure, for the case of an error, that we throw a new Apollo error, like this, yeah? With error message and error code. Okay. And now let's create another mutation here above. Update server. Here we expect args with the name of input. And this input is of type update server DTO. And then we expect a file. And this has a special type. Here we need to use an arrow function. And let's say GraphQL upload. And this can be nullable. And then here again, file and GraphQL upload like this. Okay, let's open up curly brackets. And here let's say let image URL. And now for the case that we got a file from the front end, let's update the image URL variable and set it to await this store image and get URL, and we pass in our file like this. Let's make this update server function, or method I should say, async. And now let's use try and catch again. And here we can throw a new Apollo error again. And here we can return this server service update server, and we can pass in the input and the image URL. Now let's create one more mutation here, and this mutation returns a server as well. Async create channel, and here we are making use of args again. We expect a variable named input, and this input is of type create channel on server DTO. Then also we want to access the context. And then here let's use try and let's say return this server service create channel, and we pass an input and our email coming from our auth guard here, yeah? It's not coming from the front end, but from this auth guard. Alright, now let's make a catch block. And here we throw a new Apollo error, yeah, with the error message, and that's it. All right. And with that, we have successfully implemented the functionality for our modals on the back end. Now let's go to the front end and let's start building out beautiful modals. Okay, now it's time to code out our invite people modal. For this, let's go to the modals directory here. And here, let's create a new folder. Maybe I name it server. Yeah, name is not so important. Maybe server is not the best fit, but anyway. And here, let's say invite modal. Invite modal.tsx. Let's do RFCE. Now, what we have to do? Now let's go to our main.tsx. And let's make sure that we have our modal here. Invite modal, like so. Now let's go to our invite modal again. Let's use our hook. Use modal. And we pass in invite modal, right? Yeah, we named it invite modal. And here let's get modal. Now, how did we name it? Let's go to our hook. Is open, right? Okay. So is open and close modal. This is what we need here. Let's use the modal component here in our JSX from Mantine core. And let's say opened is equal to is open. And on close is equal to close modal. title is invite people. Invite people. And oops, sorry for this here. Yeah. And sorry here, this must be invite people. Huh? How did we name it? Ah, okay. Currently we don't have this type, so let's go to our general store. And here we currently only have create server, so let's create another one. Let's say invite people. Invite people like this. And now the error is gone here. Nice. Invite people. Now let's go to our server header. And here let's make sure that we are able to toggle this modal. So let's say const invite modal is equal to use modal invite people. Let's grab this one. Let's go to our menu item here. And let's put an on click on it. On click. And here we say invite modal.open modal like this, yeah? Let's try it out. Invite people. Oh, what's happening here? It's not working. Ah, okay, it's working. Okay, before we keep going with our invite people modal, let's create a new mutation in the server folder here under mutations, and we name it invite, or no, we name it update server with new invite code.ts. Let's import GQL from Apollo client. Let's say export const update server with new invite code, and let's get rid of this mutation here. Then let's make use of backticks here, and let's say mutation update server with new invite code. Let's put in the server ID, which is of type float, or which must be of type float. And let's copy this. Let's open up curly brackets. Let's paste it in. Let's make it lowercase. Let's say the server ID should have a value of $, server ID. And then let's put in the ID. And then let's return the ID, the name, the image URL, and the invite code of the server. And now let's make sure that our GraphQL codegen is running. GraphQL codegen --watch --verbose. And we can jump back to our invite modal. And here we need also our server. And we can access our server using use server, which is our custom hook. And now we will make use of a nice hook coming from Mantine. And I think it's called use and then copy or something like this. Use, how is it? Ah, use clipboard. Yeah, use clipboard. So we will make use of this hook here. So what we do is, let's say const clipboard is equal to use clipboard. Now let's give it a timeout of 500 milliseconds. Let's close it properly. And Yeah, we should be fine. Nice. Now, what we want to do is we want to make use of our update server with new invite code mutation. So let's say square brackets, update server with new invite code. Let's also access loading. Let's say use mutation. Let's type it properly. Update server with new invite code mutation, comma. And then we say update server with new invite code mutation variables like this. Let's close it. And sorry, what's wrong here? Not really sure what's wrong here. And now let's open up parentheses, and in here let's make use of update server with new invite code like this. And then let's provide some options. And here we want to pass in our variables. And the only variable that we need is the server ID, which is equal to server ID. Yeah. And here we have a problem now because this is number or undefined, and this here is only number. So let's fix this. Let's go again to our mutation here. And let's get rid of this exclamation mark here. And let's go to our backend again. Let's go to our server resolver. And let's say that the server ID here is nullable. And then also let's say for the case that we have no server ID, if no server ID, then we throw new Apollo error, server ID is required, like this. And let's go back to the front end. Let's change this file a bit. Let's save it again to generate the new GraphQL types. And now the error is gone, yeah? Okay, nice. Now let's also create a form using use form from Mantine core. And then here we have initial values, which is just our invite code, which is an empty string by default, like so. Okay. Now down below this use form hook, let's use effect. And we want to run this effect every time server invite code changes, like this. Yeah. Oops. And what do we want to do then? For the case that we have no invite code, server invite code, then we return, then we want to do nothing, yeah? Otherwise, we want to say form.setValues, and we want to set the value of the form to invite code server invite code, yeah? And what this does, you will see in a bit. Now let's make sure that we see our browser. There it is. And let's make sure that we code out the JSX for our modal. Here we currently see this twice. This is strange. Ah, of course, it is because we have a title of invite people. Yeah. Okay. So let's have a stack here. Let's import the stack. So we stack elements below each other. And then in here, let's have a flex container. Let's import flex from Mantine core. And then let's say text input from Mantine core. Let's make sure that it has the value props and on change and everything like this. So we spread in form.getInput props. And here we have to specify invite code because here we named it invite code. Yeah. And yeah, let's also give it a few more props. Let's say right section is equal to curly brackets. And here we say we want to have a button from Mantine core, variant transparent, and on click we say, what do we say here? Clipboard dot copy, like this. Let's make sure that we close it properly. Then in this button we want to render some dynamic content. For the case that clipboard.copied is true, then we want to show icon copy. Otherwise, we want to show, for the case that we have not copied anything, we want to show icon copy. Otherwise, for the case that we have copied it, we want to show icon check. And yeah, let's also give it a color of green, like so. Yeah, you see how this works. And maybe this is a bit quick here. So what we do is, let's change this to 1000. Yeah, this is maybe better. Okay, nice. Now I would say let's give this input a width of 100%. Yeah. Let's also give this text input a label of server invite link. No, code. I should say code, because this is not really a link. And let's give it a placeholder of server invite code. Oh, actually we don't need this placeholder here. And yeah, what you see, we already see our invite code here, which is correct. Now, let's make sure that we can generate a new invite code. For this, let's go below this closing flex tag. Let's have a button. Let's disable this button for the case that it is loading. And on click, let's say we want to run our update server with new invite code, like this. Don't forget parentheses here. Let's close everything properly. And here, let's put a text in with mr of md. Generate new invite code, like so. Let's import text from Mantine core. Yeah. And you see it's already working. Beautiful, because we have used effect here, and every time the invite code changes, we also change the value of the invite code input. Yeah, this is what we are doing here. And I would say we are done with the invite modal. Great job. Let's keep going. Now it's time for creating the update server modal. Okay, and since the update server modal is very similar to the create server modal, what we can do is, let's grab the create server modal. And now let's create a new modal here under server, for example, and let's say update server.tsx. And let's paste all the code in from our create server modal. Now let's rename this to update server modal. Also make sure down below, export default update server modal. And now let's fix the imports. Here we need to have ... And also here create server. Here we need to get update server. And actually we have to create this mutation. So let's do that. let's go to mutations server and let's create update server.ts. And in here, let's import GQL from Apollo client. Let's say export const update server is equal to GQL backticks. And in here, let's say mutation update server $input update server DTO exclamation mark and then $file of type upload. Let's copy update server, open up curly brackets, paste it in. Let's make it lowercase and then let's open up curly brackets again. And then, oh sorry, here we need parentheses and we need to say input colon $input and file colon $file. Then we want to return ID, name and image URL of the updated server, like this. Now let's go back to our modal. And sorry, let's rename this. This must be update server modal, like this. Let's import update server. Wait, let's change this here. Update server. You know what? I really hate this. Let's make use of auto-completion. Import update server. Yeah, like this. And here we need to import. Let's get rid of this. Now here, let's make sure that we put ... in front of stores. This should fix it. And now here we need update server mutation and update server mutation variables, like so. And here we need update server, like this. And we should open our update server. It's currently not working because we have to go to our main.tsx here. And let's put our modal in here. Update server modal, like this. And then also in our general store, we have to update our type here. We have to add update server. And now let's go back to our update server modal. Here, do we need this CSS file here? That's the question. So let me see. .css create server modal. What did we do here? Yeah, maybe we might have to use this. Yeah, I think we have to use this. So what we do is, let's create a new CSS file under server here in modals. Let's say update server modal.module.css and let's paste it in. Yeah, it's the same as create server modal.module.css. And let's close it. Let's close this one. Let's close this main.tsx file. And let's rename this to update server. Update server, like this. Let's try it out. Maybe I have to refresh. Update server. Okay, nothing happens. Why is it? Of course, we need to go to our server header. Here we need to create const update server modal. And let's make use of use modal and pass in update server. Let's grab this one. Let's go to update server here. Let's give it an on-click of update server modal, open modal like this. Let's try it out. All right, it's still not working. Interesting. Why is that? Let's go to our update server modal again. And of course, this must be update server. And now it's working, yeah? You see it's very similar to our create server modal, but here we want to pre-populate it, yeah, with the server name and also with the corresponding server image. So let's work on this now. In order for this to work, let's grab our server, yeah, using our use server hook, like so. Then let's make use of use effect, comma, let's provide server question mark name, server question mark image URL. Let's make sure that we close it properly. For the case that we have now server, then we want to return. Otherwise, we want to set the server name, and also we want to set the image preview. Yeah. And now you see it's already working nicely. Okay, now what we have to do is let's check out the validation. It should also work, yeah. But instead of creating a server, we need to run update server. And wait, how did we name it here? Yeah, this must be update server. Yeah, make sure you have update server here, that you name this variable. And let's put it in here. And now we see, because we have typed it properly, we see we expect input. And here we don't need a profile ID. But what do we actually need here? Of course, we need the server ID. So let's say server ID. And we pass in server question mark dot ID, like this. Yeah. And here again we have this TypeScript error, because this can be number or undefined, and this expects to be number. This expects to be number. So we go back to our update server mutation, and here let's get, yeah, actually we have to go to our backend. Let's go to our DTO under server. And here we have our update server DTO. And maybe we should make this nullable. And let's get rid of this isInt. And I think that should be it. Now here, let's try to update everything. Let's go back to our update server modal. Yeah. And the error is gone. Okay, nice. Now, let's change the title here. Update server. Yeah. Let's change the text of the button. Update server. And I think this should work now. Let's try it out. Let's also use another image. Update server. And I think this has worked, huh? Test server. Now let's try it out again. Yeah. It has worked. Nice. Great job. Now let's work on this create channel modal. Alright, now in order for the create channel modal to work, let's create a create channel mutation. So let's go to mutations server and let's do create channel.txt. ts. Let's import GQL from Apollo client. Export const create channel is equal to GQL backticks mutation create channel $input create channel on server DTO exclamation mark, and then create channel input $input, and we want to return, oops, sorry for this, we want to return the ID name members, and for each member we want to return the ID, that's enough. And then also we want to return the image URL here, like so. Now let me close all these tabs here. Now let's create a new model under server. Create channel model, create channel model.tsx, RFCE, like so. Let's use our use model hook, and let's put in create channel, and let's get, what do we need actually? We need model open. No, we need is open, and we need model close, close model, like this. Let's make use of the model component. Model from Mantine core. Let's provide opened is open and on close, close model, like this. And this should not be self-closing, it should be like this. Let's give it a title of create channel. And now let's go to our main.tsx. Let's paste it in here. Create channel model, like this. Alright, nice. Now let's grab this create channel. Let's go to our general store and let's update our type here. Let's add the string here. Create channel. Nice. Now let's go to our server header. Let's create const create channel model, and let's say use model create channel. Let's grab this variable. Let's go to create channel. Let's add on click. And let's put in create channel model open model. Let's try it out. Maybe I need to refresh. Create channel. Nothing happens. Why is that? Okay, the question is, why do we not see this model? Let's check it out. Let's go to application, local storage, general store. Okay, active model is create channel. Let's click on update server. Now it's update server. Let's click again on create channel. Is it being rendered here in the DOM? Let's find out. Create channel. Not sure why we don't see anything here. What we can do is let's go to our create channel model again. Let's put a console.login create channel model. Let's look in the console. Alright, create channel model is being rendered. General store create channel is correct. Maybe let's give it a Z index of 1000. And let's see if we see something. No. Why is that? Update server, create channel. And after some debugging, I might have found the problem. Previously, we already had created a modal here, yeah? So we already had created a create channel modal. So please get rid of this one, yeah? And now let's go to our main.tsx file, and here we get an error now. Let's import the correct one. Oops. Yeah, create channel modal under server, and now let's try it out. We have to refresh, and now we see our create channel modal, yeah? So this is working. Beautiful. And in order for this to work, let's go to our general store, and here we need a new property in our interface. We need channel type for create channel modal, which is of type channel type like this. We have to import channel type from GQL GraphQL, and then below toggle draw, let's create set channel type for create channel modal. And this is a function that expects the type of type channel type, and it returns void. And now let's give it a default value. Here let's say channel type for create channel modal. And here let's say channel type dot text, comma. Now here down below toggle draw. And now here, after toggle draw, after this comma, let's create our setter. Set channel type for create channel modal. And then here we have parentheses. In here is our channel type. Oops, channel type like this. And then arrow function. Here we have access to set, and in set we run another arrow function, and then we can return channel type for create channel modal, and we put in the channel type like this. And you might be wondering why we need this, and you will see this in a bit why we need this, and it makes totally sense. So bear with me, it doesn't make much sense to explain it to you now. So don't worry about this. Let's close this. Let's go back to our modal. Now in our modal, let's access channel type. And here we say is equal to use general store and then state. And here we have to access this very long name. Yeah, so make sure you write it correctly. But I chose this name because it's very descriptive. Okay, and here I was a little bit lazy. So yeah, that's why I use this. And now let's create our form using use form from Mantine core. Let's have our initial values, which is an object, and in here we have a name. Initially it's an empty string, and then we have a type. And the type is, for the case that we have a channel type, then it's channel type. Otherwise, it's channel type dot text. Yeah? So it can be either video, audio, and by default it's text. Now after this yellow closing curly bracket, let's have validate. And in here let's say name, value, arrow function here. for the case that we don't have any value here, so the user did not provide a name, then we want to show please enter a name. Else, for the case that value is triple equal to general, then we want to show channel name cannot be general, because by default each server has a general channel, so you can't create another general channel. And yeah, otherwise, alright, otherwise let's render null. Yeah. So if the user did not provide any value here, so the name field is empty, then we want to show please enter a name. Otherwise, if the value is general, so if we type general, then we want to show this. Otherwise, we don't show any error. Okay. Now, let's also specify our type here. And here, let's say value.trim. So if nothing has been provided by the user, then we say please select a channel type. And here we will make use of a select menu. You will see this in a bit. And let's also specify validate input on change. And let's set it to true. And now let's get our server ID using our use server hook. Use server. Let's access the server here. And now let's say const square brackets create channel, comma, curly brackets, loading and error. Let's say use mutation. Let's use create channel and then curly brackets. Let's type it properly. Create channel mutation and create channel mutation variables, like so. Now let's provide the variables here. Input. And then we say server ID is equal to server .id. Name is equal to form values.name. And type is equal to form values.type, like this. Okay. And here again, same error as before. This is number and undefined, and this is only number. So let's go to our create channel mutation. And actually again, we need to go to our backend. Let's go to our server DTO. And here, create channel on server DTO. Let's make the server ID nullable, like so. Let's go back to our front end. Let's update our mutation here. And now the error is gone here, nice. Now, for the case that we have created a new channel on the server, we want to refetch our server, yeah, so it's updated in real time, so to speak. So we need to call the get server query here, yeah, to get the updated server with all its channels. And now let's create const handle create channel. And here we want to run await create channel. Or wait, now we can actually do it differently. Let's do it differently. Here, let's say on completed. What we want to do here is we want to close the modal. And also we want to reset the form. And now let's start to code out some JSX. Let's open up our browser again. Let's open the create channel modal. Let's make use of the stack component provided by Mantine core. Let's use flex from Mantine core. Let's give it a direction of column. And let's give it a height of rem from Mantine core. Rem. Am I not able to import it? Rem, yeah, from Mantine core. And here we say 250 pixel. And now in this flex component, let's have a text input. Let's import it from Mantine core. Let's give it a margin bottom of MD, a label of channel name. Let's put on change and value and all the good stuff on the input by using form.get input props, and we provide the name string. Then also, because we have validate here, yeah, what we can do is we can say error, and then we can say form.errors.name, like so. Or we can say error.message. And this comes from our backend, yeah, because here we have access to the error. Now down below this text input, let's have select, and here let's say data, and then we say object.values, and here we put in the channel type, and then we run map. We access each type, and we return the type, like so. And this must be self-closing. And let's make sure that we import it from Mantine core. And let's give it a label of channel type. There it is. Yeah, so what we are doing here is we use object.values to get the values of this enum here. And the values are basically the strings, yeah? That's all that is. And then we map over these strings and we return them, yeah? So we have an array of strings. That's all we are doing here. And now let's say curly brackets, ... form .get input props, and we provide type here. Like this. Okay. Now below this closing flex tag, let's make a group from Mantine core. In here, let's have a button with color of red, and on click on close modal with the text of cancel. Let's import the button from Mantine core. There it is. And also let's have another button with the text of create channel. Let's set loading to loading and give it a variant of gradient, and let's disable it for the case that we have errors. Exclamation mark form values.name and exclamation mark form values.type, or loading, or error.message, yeah, from our backend. Like so. And here we must use 2 exclamation marks. And now let's try it out. Okay. Please enter a name. Nice. We are done with it. Let's try it out. I will open up our Chrome DevTools. Let's go to Network. Create channel. Let's say audio channel, and let's hit create. Okay, nothing happens. And of course it is because on our button here, let's attach an on-click handler. And here we need to call create channel like this, yeah? Let's try it out again. And did it work? Yeah, it has worked. It has worked, but here you see members is null, so we are not returning any members. But that's alright for now. And what you also can see is that here our getServer query returns a server with channels. We have our general channel, which was there by default, yeah. And then we have our newly created audio channel. Nice. Now we also need to create the delete server and leave server functionality, but I would say maybe let's start working on displaying the different channels here in our server sidebar. And then we will go back to the backend and we will implement these two functionalities here. And then we can jump back to the front end and start building out the modals and so on. Yeah, let's do it like this. All right, now let's create a few more components here for our server sidebar. So under navigation, let's create server sidebar section.tsx RFCE. And let's also create server channel.tsx RFCE. Now let's go back to our server sidebar. And here let's also get access to audio channels. Audio channels and video channels. And here we also will need to implement another component, server search. Let me comment it out properly like this. We will do this in a bit. But for now, let's have a scroll area down below this. Scroll area from Mantine core. And in here, we want to render something conditionally. For the case that text channels dot length is not false, yeah, this is why we are using 2 exclamation marks. Then we want to render something. We want to render a server sidebar section. Server sidebar section. Like this, it's self-closing. And hey, what's wrong here? Server channels like this and server sidebar section. Let's import it. And now, because we have already one text channel, which is our general channel, we see this server sidebar section here. Now, down below this, let's have a stack. And then, let's make sure that we import it. And then here, let's say text channels dot map. Let's map over each channel. And here we want to render a server channel component. Server channel like this. There it is. And we see only one server channel because we only have our general channel on our server. And let's give it a key of channel.id. Like so. And let's make sure that we provide a question mark. Awesome. Now, I would say before we keep going here, let's make sure that we work on these two components here, yeah? So let's start with the server sidebar section. So this component expects a couple of props. Section type, channel type, role, and label. Yeah. And now let's write an interface. Server sidebar section props. And here we say section type. This section type can be either channels or members. Then we have channel type, which is channel type, our enum, yeah. Let's import it from GQL, GraphQL. And then we have role, which is our member role from GQL, GraphQL, like this. Okay. And then we have a label of type string. Let's close it. And let's put it after this curly bracket, like so. Now, before we keep going here, let's go back to our server sidebar and let's make sure that we pass in all the props here. So section type is channels, channel type is text, role is role, and label is text channels. Yeah. And one thing here, let's type this properly. So let's say channel type dot text. Yeah. Okay. Nice. Now let's go back to our server sidebar section. In here, we will create two variables. Channel modal, which is equal to use modal, create channel, and then also const manage members modal, which is equal to use modal manage members. Now let's grab manage members. Let's go to our general store. Let's update our type here. Manage members. Nice. Now down below this here, let's create another variable. Set channel type for create channel modal, which is equal to use general store. And then we access our setter here, yeah, from our general store. Then also let's create a function, handle on click, which is an arrow function. And here we say set channel type for create channel modal. And we pass in the channel type. And then we say channel modal open modal, like this. Now, for the case that our role is not member role dot guest and the section type is triple equal to channels, then we want to show the following JSX code here. Let's use a tooltip with a label of create channel. Let's say with arrow. You will see what this does in a bit. And let's say on click, and let's put in handle on click like this. Let's provide a closing tooltip tag, and in here let's say flex, and then let's give it a few props. Padding Y, let's say MD. Padding X, let's say MD. And actually we simply can say padding MD. And let's give it a style of cursor pointer. Cursor pointer. Let's make sure that we close this flex tag. Let's import flex from Mantine core. In this flex component, let's have another flex component with justify space between and W of 100%. Let's make sure that we close it correctly. And then in here, let's have a text component from Mantine core with a font weight of 700. And in here we render a label like so. And there it is, text channels. Nice. And also you see we have a nice tooltip with an arrow there. Yeah, you see the little arrow here? Looking really nice. And now below this closing inner flex tag, let's also have an icon plus. Icon plus. Like this. Let's import it from Tabla icons React. There it is. Now, below this closing curly bracket, let's have another if statement. Let's say role is triple equal to member role dot admin, and section type is members. Yeah. Then we want to render some different JSX. Here, let's render tooltip with a label of manage members with arrow, and on click, let's say manage members modal dot open modal, like this. Yeah. And let's make sure that we have a closing tooltip tag, and then in here we basically have the same as above. Yeah. So we can grab this, paste it in here. And here, of course, we have to say icon settings, like so. And now let's try out this functionality here. So let's see what happens. Let's go to application, local storage, general store. Yeah. Now let's see what happens when clicking here, create channel. You see that the channel type for create channel modal is text. Yeah. It works perfectly, and it is because we clicked here on this plus sign for text channels. But yeah. And now imagine we have video channels and audio channels, and when clicking there, we want to have video or audio there, yeah? And this is why we have this here in our global state, yeah? But don't worry, later when we have more channels, you will see this in action, yeah? So it's not difficult, don't worry. All right, now let's work on our server channel component. So let's jump to our server channel. And in here, let's write some TypeScript code. First of all, let's create type server channel props. And in here, let's have channel of type channel from GQL GraphQL. Let's have server of type server from GraphQL from GQL GraphQL. Let's have role, which is optional, from member role, which is of type member role from GQL GraphQL. And let's have is active, which is optional as well, which is a boolean. Nice. Let's also create another variable, icon map. And here we have channel type.text. And for the case that channel type is text, we want to have icon hash. Yeah, let's import icon hash. Then for the case that the channel type is audio, we want to use icon microphone maybe, or something like this. Microphone, yeah. And for video, we use icon camera maybe. Now let's put in the props here in a destructured form. So let's say channel server role is active. And after this closing curly bracket, let's say server channel props like this. Okay, nice. And now the channel contains the type, yeah. And what we can do is we can say const icon, and then we can say icon map, and we can put in channel.type like this, yeah. So now we have an icon, and this icon can either be an icon hash, icon microphone, or icon camera, based on this dynamic value here, yeah? Now let's create const delete channel modal, which is equal to use modal. And we put in delete channel modal. Then also let's have update channel modal. We also have to create these modals. Don't worry, we will do this soon. Use modal, update channel like this. Let's make sure that we update our type in our general store. So we will have, delete channel, and we have update channel like this. Now, we actually also need to update our general store here. We need another property here. So let's say channel to be deleted or updated ID, which is of type number or null. And then also we need a setter for this. So set channel to be deleted or updated ID, and we put in an ID as argument, and we return nothing. Then here let's provide an initial value. Initially it's null, and let's also provide the setter for it, yeah? So here we get the ID as argument, and then we say set, and in set we run an arrow function where we assign the ID to this property here, yeah, in our global state. Okay. Now in here let's create another variable, navigate, using use navigate. Then for the case that channel.name is not general, then we want to render something conditionally. Let's return a nav link from Mantine core. Let's give it margin left of MD, a width of a RAM of 260 pixel. Let's import RAM from Mantine core. Let's give it a label of channel.name. Let's give it right section of our icon with a size of 15. Let's close our icon. Okay, so we need to close the icon in here. This must be self-closing. And then let's close our nav link here, and also we need to provide the active property here. And here let's say is active like this. Okay. Now, before we keep going here, let's go to our server sidebar and let's provide all these props here so we can see what we are doing. So here we need channel, which is equal to channel. We need is active, which is equal to active channel triple equal channel.id like this. And we have to create this variable. Let's say role, which is equal to role, and server is equal to server. Okay. Now let's create some local state here. In our server sidebar, let's say const square brackets active member ID, comma set active member ID. which is equal to React use state, and it's either string or null. And let's do the same for active channel and set active channel. And maybe we should name this active channel ID and set active channel ID. Yeah. And actually, let's make it number, of course, because it's an ID. And now let's make sure that we are using use effect. And this use effect is dependent on the channel ID, member ID, and text channels. Like this. Okay. Let's close it properly. For the case that we have a member ID, then we want to set active member ID to the member ID. And we want to set active channel ID to null. Yeah. And why we do this is because we only want either a member link or a channel link to be active. Yeah. We don't want both to be active. This is why we do it like this. And you will see what I mean in a bit. Alright, now let's also make sure that we do the same for channel ID using set active channel ID, pass in channel ID, and set active member ID to null. Yeah, and great. Let's hit refresh. We still have some errors. Why is that? Alright, here we need to use question mark. And what's the problem here? Ah, okay. This must be active channel ID, of course. Let's hit refresh again. And we are good. Maybe we should make sure that we have a channel here. Yeah. And maybe let's go to our server channel again and let's make sure that channel can be null, yeah, just to get rid of this error here. And yeah, maybe in our server channel, let's see. Here also, let's make sure that we provide question mark, and here as well. And here as well. Or what we can do is here in our server channel, let's do if no channel or no server, then we return null, yeah? And you know what here? Let's also say no channel dot type and end. And now server, like so, and let's make a question mark here. Now let's fix, yeah, maybe, you know what, let's get rid of this null here. Yeah, let's get rid of this null. And now here we get this error again. So let's go back to our backend. Let's go to server types. And let's see what we have here. Yeah, maybe, you know, here in server types, let's get rid of this here. And this should fix our TypeScript error here. Let's go to some mutation. Let's update it. Let's save it. And now the error should be gone. Yeah. And now the error should be gone. Yeah. Okay. Now let's go back to our server channel here. And let's make sure that we actually see something. We need to grab these two lines here and put them down below our hooks here, yeah? So, like this. Alright, now in our nav link here, let's say role is not equal to member role dot guest. Then we want to render something. We want to render a stack. And in the stack, which we have to import from Mantine core, we want to render a nav link again with onClick, in which we run an arrow function where we say, yeah, actually we don't need an arrow function here. Here we simply say navigate to backticks, and in backticks we say servers / $ curly brackets server ID / channels / $channel dot type $$ curly brackets channel dot ID, like so. And of course we need an arrow function here because we have an argument here for the navigate function. So let's use arrow function here and do it like this. Okay. Let's make sure that we close this correctly here. Now let's give a few more props to this nav link. Let's say label join. Let's give it a write section of icon message. Icon message style, or actually we can do it like this. ML SM. Okay, we can't do it like this. So we have to use style. And then we say margin left of 8 pixel. Or we can say rem 8 pixel. Not sure if this works. We will see. And let's give it a size of 20, like so. And now, before I keep going here, we want to see something, right? So let's go back to our server sidebar here. Currently, we are only able to see text channels here, yeah? So this sucks. And what we can do is, we can carefully grab all this here. Yeah, make sure to grab everything in your scroll area here. Let's copy it, paste it down below. But instead of using text channels, let's use audio channels. And down below as well. And let's update this to audio channels. And let's see what we get. Okay, something broke. What happened here? Alright, not really sure what happened here. Not really sure what happened here. Server channel. Am I actually not able to render this icon here? Let's get rid of it. Alright, interesting. Somehow this did not work, yeah? Somehow I'm not able to render this icon. Why is that? Maybe let's grab this icon map and let's put it in our component here. Does this work? Alright, and I know why this broke now. Stupid mistake by me here. The reason is here we are using JSX elements here, yeah? We are using already components here. And then here we are using a component as well. Yeah, you can't do it like this. So what we do is, let's grab the size 15. Let's put it in here, here, and here. And let's get rid of these brackets here. Like so. And now it's working, you see? And now here's one more issue. When clicking on audio channels, the audio should be selected here, yeah? But it is selected text. And why is that? Let me show it to you. Let's go back to our server sidebar. We forgot something. Here, for our audio channels, we must use channel type dot audio, like this. Yeah, and now let's hit refresh. Okay, is it still text? Let's open it up again. It's still text. Interesting. Let's go to our section here, server sidebar section. And let's do a console.log of channel type. Handle on click, and let's put in channel type. Let's see what we get. Alright, handle on click, we have audio here, yeah? This is correct. Let's go to our create channel model. Create channel model. And let's see what we are doing here. And actually, here we need to make sure to set the type here, yeah? When rendering this model, we need to make sure that we update the type here. And how we do it? We do it via use effect, yeah? So I forgot this. And this use effect is dependent on a variable which we currently do not have. So let's create it. So above, let's say const channel type for create channel model is equal to use general store, and then we access this variable here, yeah? And now in use effect, let's say if no channel type for create channel model, here an n is missing. And here, let's make sure that I write it correctly, channel type and channel type. Then we want to return. Otherwise, let's say form.set field value. And we want to set the type here. And we say channel type for create channel model, like this, yeah? Oops, what did I do here? Let's get rid of this. Yeah. And now it's working, yeah? Let's try it out again. Audio is pre-populated. And when clicking here on text channels, we have text. Yeah, nice. Now, let's create another channel. Yeah, a video channel. Let's also make sure that we can display a video channel. Let's go back to our server sidebar. Make sure to copy again everything in here. Yeah. Let's paste it down below. Let's say video channels. And here as well. Make sure to have channel type video here. And label is video channels. And it works perfectly. Let's see what happens when clicking here. Join. Yeah, we are moving to this. Or let's click here. Let's click join. We are moving to this. Beautiful. Cool. And I just noticed I forgot something here. We need also manage members here. We will do that soon. But maybe we will do the last two ones here, delete server and leave server, because it's quickly implemented. So for this, let's go back to the backend and let's go to our server service. Let's create async leave server, and this expects a server ID of type number and also an email of type string. Then in here, let's get the profile using await this Prisma profile dot find unique, yeah, where email is equal to email. For the case that there is no profile, no profile, we throw new error, profile not found. And then after that, we can say return this Prisma server update, where the ID is equal to server ID. Let's make sure to close it correctly. And after this where, let's do data. And here we say members, delete many. And here we say profile ID, which is equal to profile.id, like so. All right, let's provide another bracket. Okay, let's also create another method, delete channel from server. Here we need the channel ID of type number and the email of type string. Let's get the profile again, same as above here. So let's copy this and also here this one. Then let's say const channel, await this Prisma channel find unique, where ID is equal to channel ID, and then also where profile ID is equal to profile.id, like so. So we make sure that only the creator of the channel is able to delete it. Nice. Now we want to make sure that the user is not able to delete the channel with the name of general. Yeah, this channel will stay forever. And now here, let's say if no channel, we throw a new error, channel not found. Otherwise, we can say await this Prisma channel delete, where ID is equal to channel ID, yeah? And then we can return a string, channel deleted successfully, yeah? And now maybe above here, below leave server, let's also do delete server. Here we need the server ID of type number and the email of type string. Then let's copy these lines here, yeah. So we want to have the profile, and for the case that we do not have a profile, we throw an error again. And then let's see if we can find the server. Find unique, where ID is equal to server ID. But then also we want to make sure that there's a member in this members relation. Yeah, we have multiple members on a server, and we want to make sure that one of these members has a profile ID of profile.id. Yeah, and then also the role must be admin. Yeah, so only the admin is able to delete the whole server. Yeah. Now let's jump to our server resolver. And here let's do mutation server. And here let's say mutation, which returns a string. And yeah, let's start with this. Why not? Yeah, let's say async leave server. And as args, we expect the server ID, which is of type number. And also we need the context here. Let's open up curly brackets. And let's use try and catch. In the try block, let's say return. No, actually we say await this server service leave server, we put in everything here that we need, server ID and the email. And after that, we return maybe okay or something like this, yeah. And actually, let's go back to leave server. What are we doing here? Alright, we are returning the server, yeah, but we do not really need it. Yeah, it's okay like this. Otherwise, in the catch block, we throw an Apollo error like this. Now let's do another mutation, which returns a string. And here, let's say async delete server. We need the server ID of type number. So let's copy this. Yeah, maybe we can copy these two lines here, yeah? Args and context. Like so. Let's open up curly brackets. Let's do try and catch. In here, let's say await. Or actually, we can say return, because we are already returning a string there in our delete server method. And here we can throw a new Apollo error like this. Okay, now let's also create another one. Mutation delete channel. And I totally forgot what this is returning. So delete channel. What does this? Alright, it returns a string as well. So let's say string. And here let's say async delete channel from server. And here we need the channel ID of type number. Channel ID of type number. And we need our context here again. Let's open up curly brackets. Try and catch. Yeah, and this already returns a string. So we can do it like this. And now let's jump back to the front end. And here let's create a new mutation. Leave server.ts. Import GQL from Apollo client. Export const leave server is equal to GQL. And then here backticks. Mutation leave server. And then the server ID of type float. And let's not put an exclamation mark here. Then let's say leave server. And we say server ID $ server ID. And we don't need a curly bracket here, so let's just use one. Let's create another one. Delete server.ts. Let's import our GQL tag. Let's say export const. Create, oops, not create, delete server is equal to GQL template string. And in here, let's say mutation delete server. And then the server ID. And here, let's say delete server. Delete server. And we need to have server ID, $ server ID like this. Okay. Oh, we get a bunch of errors here. Yeah, we will fix them. And also, let's create another mutation, delete channel.ts. Let's import our GQL tag. Export const delete channel, which is equal to GQL backticks mutation delete channel, and then we need the channel ID here, and then we call delete channel from server. I think this is how we named it on the backend. And let's provide one closing curly bracket. Now let's fix these errors. Here I didn't put an exclamation mark, yeah, and also on the other mutations. So let's go to our backend again. And let's make sure that the channel ID is nullable. Let's set it to true. Let's set this to true, nullable. And here as well, nullable, true. Yeah, on these three here, leave server, and delete channel from server. Now let's go back to our front end. Let's update our mutation here. Let's hit save. And we still have some errors. Why do we have them? Let's go to our delete channel. Okay, I made a typo here. Delete channel from server. Yeah, now we are good. Nice. Now let's create another modal, and maybe inside server, let's create a new folder, channel. And in here, let's create delete channel modal.tsx rfce, like so. Let's make use of our hook. Yeah, use modal and then delete channel. Let's get is open and close modal. Let's use the modal component here from Mantine core. Let's provide opened is equal to is open. On close, we provide close modal. Title is delete channel, and size we don't need here. We just use the default size. And maybe here, let's say delete channel. Delete channel. And now let's go to our main.tsx. Let's put it in here, delete channel modal. Oh, where is it? Here's it. Like so. Let's go to our server header. Let's create const delete channel modal, and let's use modal and provide delete channel. Let's grab this thing. Let's go down to, sorry, we don't use it here. We use it somewhere else. Sorry for this. So let's cut this out. Okay, and now we have to go to our server channel component. Yeah, I totally forgot about this. And here we have this join nav link, and I would say let's create another one. Yeah, but first of all, let's paste this in here. So delete channel modal, yeah. And now let's copy this nav link, paste it in down below. Let's give it an icon of icon trash. And let's name this delete. And on click, let's say delete channel modal, open modal, like this, yeah? And we do not need to pass anything in. Let's try it out. Oh, we broke something here, huh? It complains. So what do we have? Delete channel modal has already been declared And where? In our server channel. Okay, we have it twice. Oh, sorry, we already have it here. So let's get rid of this. And now let's try it out again. So here we should have this now. This is correct. Let's click on it. And we see our delete channel model here. But, I need to refresh. Sorry for this. And now we should have no problem. Yeah. And delete opens this. Okay. Nice. Now let's work on our delete channel model. In here, let's access the server. Or actually, yeah, we can access the server using our use server hook. Then we need to create another variable here. Const channel to be deleted or updated ID, which is equal to use general store. And then here we can access this property in our store. Now let's create something else. Const square brackets delete channel, then also loading is equal to use mutation, open up parentheses, delete channel, comma, curly brackets, and now let's type this. Let's say delete channel mutation, comma, delete channel mutation variables, like so. And now let's provide the variables. Oops, variables. So we have type safety here. And all we need here is the channel ID, which is channel to be deleted or updated ID, yeah? Oh my god. And then also let's use refetch queries and let's say get server, yeah? So we get the updated server. Now let's also create navigate using our use navigate hook from React Router DOM. And now maybe below refetch queries, let's have on completed. And what we want to do here is we want to close the modal and we want to navigate to backticks, then servers, $, curly brackets, server.id, server .id, oops, .id. And now let's render something pretty in here. Let's say text, font weight of 700. And in here, let's say, are you sure you want to delete this channel? And then below this, I'll make sure you import text from Mantine core. Then let's have a button here from Mantine core as well. Let's give it an on click where we run an arrow function and we call delete channel, like so. The button has a text of delete channel. And maybe let's give this button a color of red. Color red. And let's say loading is equal to loading, like this. Yeah, let's try it out. So we want to delete this audio channel. Let's click on it. And maybe let's open up Chrome DevTools to see if everything has worked nicely. Let's click on it. All right. And here we get an error. What do we get? Alright, argument ID must not be null. What did we send? Okay, channel ID is null. Yeah, that's bad. Why is channel ID null? Let's see. Okay, so we might have forgotten to set this, yeah? So we need to set this. Let's see. So we need to go back to our server channel. And here we have this icon trash. And before we open this modal here, yeah, let's make it like this. Let's put in curly brackets here. Then let's paste this modal in here. And above it, we have to set something in our general store. So let's say const. And you know, I'm a bit lazy, so I go to our global general store here and I grab this variable here, yeah? Channel to be deleted or updated ID. And I paste it in, and maybe, I should have gotten the other one, but anyway, let's say set channel, and then is equal to use general store, and we access this, yeah? Now we grab this, and we go down here to our delete button, so to speak, and above here, let's call this with channel.id, yeah? And now, you know, currently in our general store, you see that it is null. And now let's try it out again. Maybe let's refresh. And now let's try it out. Let's click here. Let's click on delete. And we should have the ID here. And now it should be working. Let's try it out. And it has worked. Yeah, nice. And also it has updated here, yeah, because of our refetch query, yeah, we got the newly updated server back from our backend. All right. And maybe one thing that I don't like, you see here, we could have some margin here. So let's do that. So let's go to our delete channel modal. And here we have this button. Let's give it MT for margin top of XL maybe. Let's see how this looks. Or maybe MD, yeah. MD is enough. Yeah, like this. Okay. Now one more thing. We are able to leave the server. And as admin, because we have created the server, we should not be able to leave the server, but only delete it, yeah? So let's go back to our server header and let's fix this. So let's go to leave server here. And this is incorrect here, yeah? Here we need to say is not admin. Yeah, this makes sense. So for the case that it is a moderator or a guest, then he will be able to leave it, but not an admin. Okay, now we should also try to delete a server, yeah? So we need another modal. And let's create it in our server folder here. Delete server modal.tsx rfce. Let's make sure that we use our modal hook here. Use modal, delete server. Let's access is open and close modal. Let's grab the string. Let's go to our general store. Let's update this type. Delete server. Here let's use our modal component like this, and let's provide the properties here like so. Let's say delete server. Let's go to our main.tsx file let's paste it in, delete server modal. And now let's try it out. Delete server. Actually we need to go to our server header. Where is it? Server header. And here let's create const delete server modal. Like so. Let's grab this. Let's go to delete server. Here let's provide an on-click handler and let's put in delete server open modal. Let's try it out. There you go. Now this modal is very similar to delete channel. So what I would say is let's grab everything from delete channel and let's paste it in here. Yeah. And let's adjust accordingly. Let's say delete server modal. Let's copy this, paste it in here. Here let's say delete server. And let's make sure to update everything in here. So we need to get rid of these dots here. Yeah, so delete this everywhere. So all the imports are working correctly. So always get rid of one here, of one slash with two dots. And also here. Yeah. And let's make sure that we use delete server mutation here and delete server mutation variables. Here let's use delete server. And here we must provide the server ID. And here we can actually say server .id, yeah, because we have access to our server here. And then here as refetch queries, we can say get servers, or how did we name it? Get servers, I think, right? Yeah, get servers. And this will make sure that the list here, that the server, and this will make sure that the servers here in our sidebar will update in real time, yeah? Because we get the newly updated servers list, so to speak, yeah? And now we would navigate to just slash, yeah? And here let's say delete server. Are you sure you want to delete this server? Delete server, like this, yeah. And now I would say, let's try it out. Let's hit refresh first of all, and now let's try it out. Delete. And this did not work. Let's see what happened. Let's go to network. Let's click again. Seems as if we have forgotten something to return on our backend. Let's go to our backend. Delete server. Here we are returning something. Let's go to delete server. And let's see what we are doing here. All right, and here we are not returning anything. So what we can do is, let's say return server deleted successfully, for example. Now let's try it out again. And now it has worked. Yeah. But one thing is, we still see this thing here. Yeah. So it has not updated in real time. Why is that? Let's hit refresh. And it's still there. Why is that? Let's try it out again. Let's go back to our backend. Let's go to delete server. Oh, I'm super sorry, guys. I totally forgot to delete the server here. Oh my god, let's do that. If no server, we throw an error and then we can delete the server here. Yeah, so make sure in your server service, delete server here, that you say await this Prisma server delete server where ID is equal to server ID. And now let's try it out again. Let's try it out again. Delete server. And now, you see, it disappeared in real time. And we have an empty list of servers here. And we deleted it successfully. Nice. Now let's create another server. And Let's create a channel. All right, now I would say let's make sure that people are able to take this invite code and join a server. And in order for this to be working, let's make sure that we have a join modal. Yeah, and also on our backend, we need functionality for members to join a server. Yeah, so let's work on this now.